As the week moved by, we had a couple of messages and more. Your lovely 5D Mystic is here today with our messages for the 5D Collective. So, those would be those lovely people who do know. If you don't know who you are, you can find out. And that is why those who do consider needing to change go to good therapy. They then continue with personal development and self help, and that's because they do emotions, because they're not like, I can't, excuse me, I need my other hand. I can't do it, Maria. I can't do emotions. They're too hard. I can't do thoughts. No, they're not. Once you get integrated, once you think for your inner well being. Okay, so when you know that disappointment is not the end and that you can do hard things again, so for people who have hard time with thoughts and emotions, there's good therapy, and that is why integration of the brain, you can access it, and so can anybody else. And if they can't, the good mental health provider will know how to share with you what your options are. Now, good has a name for it. 1 second. So I'm also in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. I'm a functional adult, and I don't make up shit out of my ass, but I'm a pseudoscience lady because I'm not the researcher. I know what it means to do quantitative analysis, and it takes forever. So, at the meantime, we use different studies that have been building through time. And I don't like to do all of this because it's food for thought. And if you need me to actually do all of this, I'm going to know you're not discerning in a way of a grown up. Okay, so when people are not grown ups, what I'm saying is they don't know how to use their prefrontal cortex, their third eye. Yeah, so that means I'm going to educate you in a minute in a way that, in fact, gives you knowledge that is going to be empowering. Not everybody likes to know that they can be an independent thinker, lover, and emotional person. No, they're going to say, how dare you say that people cannot manipulate you? We're going to get to those stories because as a teenager, I'm like, you're manipulable. Now, I can be aware that I can be manipulated, but that's for a lot of reasons. And I can also be aware that maybe I will decide not to. But I can also decide that I maybe no, don't give a shit about it either. But for one thing, I will not be a fool for the Peter Pans. Those 7 to 14 charming, they only pull wool over the people who need the good therapist that I was talking about because they completely put people on pedestals. So Peter Pans love to be put on pedestals. That's why when you go to YouTube, you're going to see a lot of different groups, and there's some of us who notice all the Peter Pans, and the ones of us who are the human love narrative, we don't do what the other people do. So hold on a minute. Okay, so yeah, disappointment to a person that knows who they are will learn about that word, and eventually the sadness will not be sadness because it'll be, wow, there's another one who has unfinished business, unfinished business, unfinished therapist. I'm not a diagnosis person. I'm not going to go around doing that. But in my brain, I'm like, I'm not a badass, not a badass, not a badass. Definitely don't know what love is. And so all the mantles, yeah, mental health mantles, spiritual mantles, spiritual bypass mantles, they're yoga mantles, you name it. You name how many mantles. They have superhero capes on Elsa's journey because they didn't finish recovering their trauma charges. Nope, they're using them. They're using it as fuel. So they're in a sympathetic nervous system safety behavior. They're maladaptive child behavior, which is why Pinocchios with ears and tails walk around and they think fucking drinking and drugging is cool. And I'm not going to bring the whole sob story of our society's gone. No, no. I actually can linearly understand with history because I did my master's degree in international relations and diplomacy. My bachelor's in political science. I just don't like to mention that I know shit because really, do I know everything? No, but I do know one thing. Linearly speaking, every person that wants to tell me that I'm stupid, I'm okay with it. I'm the woo woo lady because people don't believe in mystics until they do. And even if they do, we're gonna say, look, it's not a special gift. Please don't flatter me so much because I'm a person. You can be here with the right amount of therapy, the right amount of motivation, the right amount of I'm a person with feelings. Oh, let me get a hold of my inner child and become the Peter Pan adult of you, which is really nice because you know how to be basically a kind human being, even when you got a quote unquote asshole human being in front of you, but we can all be assholes. Again, let's not be picky. I'm not picky about words. I'm picky about the people that I do have around me. There's a reason for that. I got a good gut. That's the only reason. I don't mean to be picky in a way of let me snoot you, which my teenage friends found out. But I won't surround myself with drama kings, queens, or days because they're a waste of time. I have life. I have things to do, and I want to be proactive with my left brain. And that means people who are open minded, not closed minded and shut down by their 3 year old and 16-year old, by their family members who have told them what to believe in, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. My brain's already done. I'm like, I'll go get a book. I'll learn more from myself than I will with you, who are giving me some stereotype, some stigma, some type of historical person that you want me to hold up on a pedestal. And I'm going to look at you like this and be like, wow, really? Okay, you put people on pedestals. I don't. And then you're going to look at me like, how dare you? And I'm going to be like, well, I'm not you. I don't have to be you. I don't think like you. You don't know differentiation. It's, oh shit, I got an enmeshed one that wants me to be the, get away from me. Okay, so that's what happens when you know personal boundaries. It's not, I want to be rude. It's keep your nervous system to yourself, keep your opinions to yourself. And that's why, as a teenager, it was very clear. I have all people that I chose. I selected them. I still select them. And I am not picky, but people will say I'm picky. And I'll say, yes, quality, not quantity, always. And quantitative data, that's what I love even more, because guess what I know about integration of the brain? A lot. And consciousness. So let's continue with some stories and messages, really, and storytelling. Again, perspectives, voices. Come on over for empowered women talk and empowered men talk. We're going to have empowered men and empowered days. The people who love, not the people who are on the human suffering love trail. They don't have empowered inner child. They left the inner child alone. It's locked up. It's not coming out. I feel bad for non-bilaterally integrated people, but I know that they are choosing. Well, it's a long story, okay? So they don't want compassion. They think kindness is bullshit. And apparently they think that us moving towards our humanity is bullshit too, because I find it hard to believe that neurobiology and neuroscience and neuroattachment and sure, you can keep on talking about humans as evil as much as you want. I have a Michael Stone forensic criminologist scale. They're all in there. Don't need some ancient textbook to tell me anything. I'm a mystic. I have a relationship with the sphere. And no, it's not a conspiracy, the Matrix thing. Please leave it alone. The only ones who think of conspiracies in the case of the mystics are the ones who are using what is an unfortunate alert brain, their limbic system. The amygdala's on, their imagination is nightmarish. They could make really good use of good therapy to get a lot of help to get out of what is a poor human being's body with trauma stuff. And they don't believe me. So I leave it alone. Okay, love. Love is the way, connections, and rising above the fray. Definitely in having compassion. So I have compassion for all the people. They don't bring me their drama. When they tell me, I think I was cursed, Maria, I say, look, there's two ways you can do this. You can either become the person who rules your energy field and all of it, or you can think that others are cursing you. There is not this curse, but I'm not you. You need to know you're unconscious. So if you believe in cursing, I have people in 4D plane who can support you with this stuff. So you need to know you. But here's what I'm going to share with you as exercises and activities from my mystic group people, 5D though, that you can do, and you leave it alone, and then they get to make their decision, and they move completely away from everything spiritual and spirituality, which is better because they cannot handle the expansion of the light body in a way that allows them to feel safe. And neuroscientists explain this, by the way, when we're in a flow state, because I learn things from them. So I'm not a flat earther. That's why, again, woo woo. So our brain, when it's going into flow, this is how it lights up and what happens. Selflessness, the self of you. So Maria's not here. Timelessness, you lose concept of time. In that moment, effortlessness, which is why I was not afraid of my panic attacks. Annoying as yes, but I knew what was happening because we're an energy body. It just makes common sense. 1+1 = 2. A 5D mystic will know this. They won't think they're bearing a cross, that they need to lock themselves up, that they're somehow cursed, or that they owe anybody anything. It's not drama land. That's for the mean girls, teenagers who don't know how to, again, let me go get good help to get my energy body, my emotional body in check, because I'm a human, first of all. Let me take good care of myself. I'm a human. Okay, so when you say, let me take good care, because you know you can't take care of others if you're not sleeping well, eating well, studying well, all these things I got taught. I'm sorry. I'm a secure attachment child. I need to remember that. So let's educate. Okay. So I got taught what it means to be balanced, take care. I still get harassed to take care appropriately, which is a good thing because anybody who loves each other, they're going to say, okay, keep it straight, keep it together because you're going to get older. Okay. So that's how it works when you're a herd, human herd. Of course, I know about the ascension symptoms, and that's when I figured out, wow, 4D keeps repeating the same stuff over and over again. They don't really know what DNA upgrade means. They don't even know what this, so I'm going to, again, leave that alone because I don't want to get lost in that one. Have a welcoming home, and let's bring differences and people together, the ones who are choosing the human love narrative. So stick around if you're still curious to our messages. Change is possible when knowledge is empowerment, and a person is motivated and says yes to emotions and vulnerability and to open up to their own humanity. Okay? So these are messages for the day, from the week, and so on and so forth. And when you learn about consciousness and integration of the brain, thank you, Daniel Siegel. Let me move some cards because I have some more messages, but we won't get to read all of them. I already got to gather the intel. That's how I work, unlike others. That's because the 5D collective, again, they're independent thinkers, so they don't lose the compass. They know they're human, and they know that they have a direct connection to source, universe, energy, dark matter, dark energy. So let's not compare it to what is from 3D, 4D land, Enlightenment Soul Age Group. We move beyond the spirituality of the belief system stuff. But we live spirituality because a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self is I'm a human and you're a human. So you better bet there's no obstacle when I'm seeing you because my emotions are not going to be projected. I'm not going to say, that's a narcissist over there. I'm going to get rid of them. Oh, there's an energy vampire over there. Ever since I started hearing this, I was like, what are they doing? And when people say, so am I your soulmate? So am I this? Am I that? I don't get offended. I don't be like, oh my God, how dare you come near me? Some people are like, how dare people come near me and tell me things that I'm thinking, you're in the realm of spirit and spirituality. What did you think? Do you think that people aren't going to confuse things? If you know who you are, you don't need to be rude about it. Okay, so storms, yeah, storms in life. Feminine will know. I remember I saw this cloud on this day, and I wasn't as practiced with knowing my mind's eye. My mind's eye has been active since I was already a kid. I just didn't know it because I wasn't into any of the metaphysics, esotericism, spiritual. I got introduced to it by a good friend of mine, and then I started having my clairs, my astral travel, and all that. But my mind's eye was already working. I just didn't use it that way because my upbringing is with Jesus, and so I learned about the regular just praying, and that's about it. And so nobody talked to me about stream of consciousness, about tapping into the sphere and field, and you only hear about those things in a different way. So when I was about 16 and stuff like that. Long story short, though, the world opened up to me, and I was like, wow, okay, that makes sense because I do love Jesus and I love 5D, Christ consciousness. So the human suffering bit, though, you see the individuals who think they're actually a representation of people from the past, which is very insulting to people who existed. They don't do the emotional stuff. They don't understand that they're meant to harness their emotional plane when clairs get activated the way that they do, because your energy body is expanding. So like a little antenna is how they talk about it. Okay, and deep meditation. Yeah, I didn't need yoga, but I did do yoga with Sadhguru. It's not true. It doesn't bring demons out of you. Don't believe people that don't know anything about attachment or trauma. So the trauma charges are very important, and so is rupture. Big ruptures and fragmentation. Okay, so moving out of stagnation can be very hard for some people because they have hell in their body. It's called self-loathing, shame, guilt, a bunch of stuff, and it's some serious business over here at IHP. So the magic is that we tell people to their face things, not behind their back. And we won't be able to help and work with you if you don't speak to us. And if a person does the human suffering love narrative, it's okay because we'll know that they're harboring shit. We just won't say anything because potchas don't go around saying, I know everything because I have clairs. When people have come to me with this, I have clairs. I know what you're thinking. Really? That's interesting because I know what I'm thinking, and I think you're mistaken with some structural dissociation going on in your 1 year old and your 8 year old, and basically you have low self esteem and your nervous system is insecure. There's some full moon shit, and I'm going to say, yeah, your ego, let's take it into check for a minute and get out of that inner critic and outer critic. What is this? And today I have words, but I don't need to do any of this because I don't have people around me that actually do any. Because the minute that they begin to interact with me with an 8 year old and 3 year old and 16 year old, I know how to say, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Did I offend you? Let me correct myself and forgive myself and you and say, we can choose how to work through this. And that's what's called functional adult love language. It's I'm going to be just as loving and kind to you, but I'm not going to put up with the bullshit of however your tone is, because I'm a grown human being and I don't need your relationship and you don't need me. So that's an independent 0 1 year old. I have a mother. She's my one secure attachment. And there you go. And that's what a person who knows healthy self worth will say. It's not, completely that way, because luckily there's other people who are securely attached. They do emotions. So they say, wow, I want to be friends with a person who's genuine and transparent and everything. And that's when people accept themselves. Okay. So a person who's healing therapy, they're healing themselves with therapy. They're going to want people who know how to say, wow, you're awesome. We can work it out. Of course we can. I know everything about my body, wisdom. I don't have indecision. I don't have self doubt. Self doubt is for people who don't know how to be their self or choose themselves. Yeah, they're called people who don't want to do the emotional lifting. They are called people who are cowardice in the book of childhood trauma survivors, because the childhood trauma survivors who do go to therapy, they know exactly what's happening inside. And they know that you're leaving behind an inner child that did everything it could to make it possible so that you could be here, and you don't want good therapy because you got some people out there spreading rumors either about yoga bringing demons out of you, and how dare somebody suggest mindfulness and meditation based on religious bias, by the way, which is hilarious, because everything that religion I learned from my catechism was about well-being for people. And seeing somebody say something like this on screen, well, people need something to believe in. As yoga becomes popular with a good spirituality leader, by the way, made me laugh inside and think, wow, you are so blinded to what just came out of your mouth. Because the minute that you say people need something to believe in, and you are wearing a cloak of the same matter, yeah, we all, well, here's the thing, some of us don't need to believe in anything, because see, I got facts. Dark matter, dark energy. I learned a lot about the universe with this documentary, the Cosmos Universe, something, what is it called? And I still will watch it, so I know how the universe is going to end. So let me think, sciences or stories? Because see, spirituality and sciences are like this for the 5D collective. Okay, Maria, are we a flat earther? No. Sciences. I know where I'm going to get my data. Thank you. I know how the universe is going to end. Oh, I love my stories, and I'm a mystic. I do know how the unfolding of the infinity of time goes. And we're going to close with this. In fact, I humored myself because Sadhguru said this thing. He said in one of his interviews that it was his last lifetime. And as he speaks these words, in my head, I'm like, he doesn't know that. He's a spirituality guru. That's why he thinks he's not coming back. Because the spirituality self and the spirituality soul age group, they learn about life through spirituality. So their entire life is all about spirituality. Now, again, I'm not talking about him or organizing. I don't have the this is food for thought, subjective opinions besides messages for community. Let me make sure to state that so that people can understand. Nobody speaks truth from our mouths, okay? So if you want data, you go to specific sources that have quantitative. That means you like it's going to be boring. It's like a bunch of logical things. Now we have a linear in sequence, and they explain, and it's dry. There's an abstract. There's a whole way that quantitative data gets presented. If you're doing qualitative, you're going to want to analyze it in a certain way. Okay, so let me just help people to understand how to organize what this is. Messages, food for thought. It's a conversation. There are no truths, and I am not definitely giving anybody any organized, because I'm not the law, and even the law, really. I mean, the law is used in order to keep our society running. Okay, so a lot of people, they get pissy in their pants for when people have different opinions, and I'm just going to make sure to label nobody speaks truths. I'm speaking Maria's opinions. Okay, the messages. Anytime I do channeled guidance, you can consider them Maria's opinions. I try to share that with people so that they can understand, but I also know that my community is built of people who want to use their brain, and so that means you're going to think and feel, and you're not going to be like, I don't like this bitch. It's going to be like, wow, this is fun. I want to join in. That's what we're going to do. We're going to join in and just chit chat and have a good time. So what I was trying to say is I humored myself, because when he spoke these words, I said, he doesn't know that. And I even had a conversation with one of my loved ones, because they were worried that they wouldn't be able to come back. And I'm like, no, nobody decides. We decide if we come back or not. Don't you worry. We just won't remember who we are, but it's all good. So That's when people love life. So peace of consciousness that love life. We don't want to go anywhere. We're like, yay, we want to keep living. And that's a whole 3-year-old heart right here. Okay. So those first 3 years of your life, remember, they're implicit memory, which is why so many people, I hate humans. That's a misanthropist. The ones who hate men, I forget. And then there's hating women and there's sexism. And then we have people hating marriages. The fact that people don't know how to commit, it's not about the marriage thing. And one, there's polyamory for people who don't know how to decide what to do, and really it's 2024. What's the deal with people not knowing how to love more people? Wait a minute, let me think. That's right. They get taught that it's oh, there's a lot I could talk about, but the 0 1 year old. So you're attached, panicky. We all have one. So see, you want to be seen, to be soothed, to be safe, to be secure, to be yourself. But it's not just that. It's like this thing right here. Some of us, we don't have that. So we don't get primal attachment panic because we have compersion. It's called I share a person and I can't lose them. But remember, I'm determined. I have an identical twin. So I've consistently shared my primary caregiver, which is why I'm talking like this, because it's easy, because I know I'm not different in a way that's defective. I'm different in a way that's different, and I'm going to share space like any other 3-year-old, and I know how to share and be happy about it. This is what kindness and compassion looks like. And confidence that is not going to be enjoyed by any human suffering love narrative chosen person. If they choose that, they're gonna be like, that's all bullshit. I don't want it. People suck. Life sucks. And that's what I feel inside. And, again, they're not motivated to bring about change. So they're not motivated to do what? To integrate their brain. So even if I can share all, and I share all the knowledge in an empowering way, the people who are not motivated to live, I'm Eeyore, or they're the squirrel from Cusco Land, or who knows, that little baby, that movie of a cartoon, the baby that is always just creating some kind of drama. They have to bring drama over. Yeah, so, anyways, let me put that aside and conclude with I figured out that it's true that it's Sadhguru's last life, because sciences and spirituality are like this, and people don't like to hear that, the ones who are not in the enlightenment soul age group, because they want something to believe in, like the person who was being interviewed talked about. And so I also know that people want something to believe in. I have known my entire life, and I grew up with God. It's not about God, not, no, I have a relationship with the infinite dark matter, dark energy. It's an intelligence. It's called consciousness. Is a lot of words, but see, people who are open-minded and emotionally and mentally mature, they don't use words like the teenagers. So teenagers are maladaptive child behaviors because you got a 16-year-old ruling the mind and the body of a person. So they get agitated when you present to them there's something different than what you think is truth, which is why I did the whole thing of saying there's no truth here. I'm grown-up land person, because the people who are healing trauma, by the way, they want grown-up people. The ones who manipulate and distort, they're the desperate human beings who I know who they are, and I surround every single one of them with the good therapists. We do personal development, self-help here, nothing else. And we will touch upon, of course, topics, but I support people to be their self in the authentic way of your whole 3-year-old heart. So we have emotional lifters, and we have the inner child adults, and we have people who save themselves and their life. They get to aliveness. So they don't do spiritual bypass. They don't do mantles of yoga. They don't do mantles of mental health. They don't go pointing a finger at somebody or continuing what is a karma wheel. And it's an 8-year-old and a 16-year-old and a person who's still actually trying to basically save their own self from their own home. And the part that gets me is when they are actually within the sphere of mental health. And see, spirituality, I got a little bit like, okay, it's not confusing here, because the ego of people gets in the way. Because the minute somebody says we're anointed, there's 144 of us, 1,000. That's where you got teenager land. Oh, look, there's a herd. Okay, so anytime anybody wants to bring me that, I'm like, yeah, okay, there's a teenager somewhere, because you're just a part of a group. But I should remember there are different types of ways that people are motivated. So we're going to get to that one in another episode. In the meantime, when you're open to your humanity, you get to be vulnerable with yourself and with others. And so emotional lifting is part of the journey for those who do feel changed, because once they gain the knowledge that they're not demons, devils, evils in the way of those who are ignorant, the evil, ignorant people, they're evil because they have maladaptive child behavior stuff going on, by the way. But no, nobody's really inherently evil or good. These words to me, they don't mean anything because I'm looking at you as a human. I'm a human, and what happens out there in the world is made by humans, and I'm not living a movie. I'm not creating a story in my head right now. Today is what? This is the 1st of June. Stuff's going on. Yes, yes, it is. I don't need to sensationalize it. Oh, I forgot. Did I say my bachelor's is in political science? I learned about journalism. What bleeds leads. That's bullshit. I don't like that. And my teacher taught me what happened. And I said, and they let it happen? The professionals let it happen? Well, they couldn't have done differently. And the conspiracy individuals, they're trying to hold us down. The esoteric lady, all the time, it's all about control. Really. You don't know the past of it. You didn't learn it from academia. You're just using some other book. So, however you want to twist and turn it, we all can have a way that we present something, but there's a difference when you're not presenting some story. Now, what I found out is yes, people who don't want to be their grown up emotional version, they like to think of life like the movies because their teenager, the 16-year-old, is still ruling with the same biochemistry of that fight response. And so they only know on and off, on and off. They don't know how to just stay on with an open heart. And so those adrenaline, whatever it is, it's a yucky energy for somebody like me because it's nothing. Not only is it a small energy when you meet people that are in it, you also recognize it as very, yeah, just how could I, let me think. I like to try and describe what I perceive. Okay, so a muddy lagoon. Okay, muddy lagoon, that shit. Go to a nice crystal clear lake with a waterfall with a beautiful sunny day and crisp but warm, so a summer spring kind of thing going on. Okay, and yeah, and that's where there's a whole difference. But again, that's not all of what you'll feel when you're in your mammalian heritage. It's your oxytocin gene hormone is on. You're in your ventral vagal state, integrated brain. So people who are motivated to get out of that body that has hell is great because they can get to heaven in their body, is how the therapist put it. Okay, so again, we don't make references to anything here to tell you what to believe in, not what you believe, what you want to believe. We're talking about personal development, self-help, how to be a person who has your inner well-being with different languages. I'm attachment trauma informed. I know psychology, sociology, a bunch of stuff. And the mystic part is I give to you from my subjective experiences and as a channeler and from, of course, books that I've read. The 4D Collective, I tease, but I would not be anywhere without them because I would not know a lot of words that instead I do. But I don't do, they use so much time. That's the part. They use so much time to get in depth on certain topics. And what I've noticed, luckily, today we have more 5D mystics, and they're integrating sciences and spirituality in a good way so that you can actually connect to the humanity of you. So let's keep moving forward again. The good, bad thing, putting it to the side. Laws are what tell us how to commit and direct and, what's the word I was looking for? How to work with society. When it comes to people, it's about being a decent human being. You don't say you're a piece of shit to somebody you don't know. And there's actually this disease, or I don't remember what it's called, but there's this thing that some people have where they'll just all of a sudden curse and spit or something. And I was wondering about that because if I had that, I would totally like wear. I know some people would feel sensitive about it, but I'd be like, you know what? I want people to know that I might end up cursing at them in their face and that I don't mean it on purpose, but that I have this thing going on. So when we learn about sciences and how they explain how humans are made, and then you start to find out so many things, you don't dehumanize a person. A lot of people, they don't care to humanize people because they're too busy being teenagers about it. So yeah, that's part. And we're going to be back with more. So again, change is possible for those who want to change, to become their authentic self. For those of us who never lost ourselves, we didn't change. We're just always ourselves, and we're expanding. So once a person moves into the capacity to be their own thoughts and emotions, that means they can regulate their nervous system. That means they can have space to talk to you and connect to you. They want to be vulnerable. Their whole 3-year-old heart comes forth. They share with you. It doesn't matter if we have a personality disorder at hand. There's Dr. Daniel Fox. He's really great to humanize and share proactive tips for every single one of them. And in fact, we might have an episode on that. We'll find out later. But in the meantime, being welcoming doesn't mean we let drama kings, queens, and days stick around in a certain way. No, the point is we will address that which we will notice is imbalanced. And that's because we want all members of our herd, so Sid, Diego, Manny, Pacha, Cusco's, everyone is welcome. Welcome in a way that allows us to be a secure attachment group. That's I'm a person and you're a person, no matter what your politics, religion, whatever it is, polyamory, monoamory, it doesn't matter, but you're going to be open hearted and have fun, not judgmental. If you're judgmental, you're not going to be part of the herd the same way because you're not going to want to be around a herd that is of a bunch of different types of people, which is A-okay. That's why we have groups, right? Groups are created based on who you vibe with. Okay, but again, when we have people who disrupt the vibe, they're not going to be left unattended. They're going to be addressed. And what you notice is when people are part of a good herd, so we have our humanity in the forefront, means compassion and kindness, not assholishness with the maladaptive child, which says, if you don't do it my way, you're out. No, not that. It's conversations and more conversations and more conversations and more conversations. And I got a perfect person in mind that I'm thinking as they've been surrounded by these people, me included, they have gotten way better at being able to actually be in different circumstances and they can continue to grow. Now, will they ever become a full piece of consciousness? Well, that depends on them. They love their persona so much so that I don't feel they will be motivated. This is big man, baby child. But at the same time, they notice the benefits that they're getting. And I share with them always that I am more than anything concerned with their gut because they still have blind spots because of their vulnerability, but it's because of their rigidity to explore it that they will remain blinded. And that means somebody can hook and make use of that. So I try to say, I don't want to change you. You be whatever you want. But do understand that your controlling patterns, they're yours, and that makes you vulnerable. You're a target to somebody who can pick up on it because that's how the energy works. Is that people who have low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive, they control each other and they don't know boundaries. They have unconscious, their inner child works a certain way. And so that energy is coming forth. And that's why the codependent type relationships, they have a way to make things look good to themselves. Because again, it's your inner child that's really leading the way. There's no inner adult. So I again try to share with my friend what my concern is not that you want to do the chit chat the way you're doing. It's that you are vulnerable to the people who will automatically engage with your energy. And again, side note, but also for anyone who is following along, the part about becoming empowered is that you work with your inner child. It's very easy for securely attached people who are with their brain. Oh, well, yeah, I got emotions. I didn't like something. Doesn't mean I need to project shit and I don't need to talk about it. I'm not going to ruminate about something that happened. I'm going to talk about it immediately because I don't have fear about it. You talk, you get it into conversation, and you move forward. So again, we'll be back with more. Like, subscribe, share, tune in, ask your questions. There's Ask Maria. For now, it's only audio version. On Spotify, you can find, and there's like 10 other podcast platforms. I just don't remember all the names, but Spotify, Amazon, Spotify for podcasters, iHeartRadio, and Apple. And there's in the link where you can subscribe for paid subscription. It's Ask Maria, opinionated columnist. We'll be back with more again.